Good day to everyone. My name is Iiro Jussila. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share some of my thoughts concerning cooperation in the digital era with you today. I'm the Managing Director of Pellervo Economic Research, PTT, and also a Professor of Management and Organization, particularly Systemic Change in the Lappeenranta Lahti University, LUT University, and also the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Cooperative Organization and Management, which is published by Elsevier. Let's go straight to the topic of the day. The most important thing to understand when talking about the future of cooperation and cooperatives is context in which cooperation evolves, and this is the digitalization of the economy. Societies are being digitalized today. This is obviously a phenomenon that's being talked about a lot these days, to great extent over the past 20 years, but obviously it has taken place or started the digitalization of societies many decades ago, ever since computers were invented. And basically digitalization refers to the emergence of information communication technologies to public and private practices, and one of the most important development in this front has been the creation of the World Wide Web. There are users of internet all over the globe these days. It is promoted by the development of ICT infrastructure and devices that help people interact and connect with each other, such as portable computers, mobile phones, and tablets. Altogether, billions of people are digitally connected these days on a daily basis and part of fast evolving digital communities. This is quite an abstract thing. It's not necessarily that easily visible or comprehensible to people that are part of different kind of communities, but you can imagine yourself using, for example, a mobile phone, and you are going from a website to another website, from application to application, and every time that you use that particular application or interact using those technologies available, you are always participating to some kind of communities and to their formation and evolvement. And so each of us is every day connected to a number of communities, and our behaviors and interactions, they form the basis for the future development of those communities and the ways they operate. Right now, a major leap is taking place in digital economy, which is boosting productivity. Experts of digital economy have been looking for a sort of a productivity leap for a long time, since in certain ways we have still been in a installing phase for the digital world, but now, especially due to this pandemic, corona pandemic, a lot of technologies and practices that are based on certain novel technologies have been adopted in a great speed, and this is obviously helping this leap to take place right now. Experts are not only looking for productivity leaps, but also a fast development and creation of new services and business models that are based on a different kind of digital solutions and digital technologies. So this is something that is taking place rapidly, and obviously due to this recent leap in the use of digital technologies, we can expect to see a lot of things on this front over the next few years. Overall, what we are seeing is a major transformation. This picture here is a rather simplistic view of what is taking place, but still it is meant to communicate how big a change we are seeing, or transformation of society we are seeing, and society and the communities, economies. Basically, societies and communities are reorganizing themselves around digital infrastructures and platforms. And in the kind of like the old days that we know very well, we talked about the economy of transactions. So markets are essential place for the involvement of the economies. Different kind of stakeholders are separate. They own their various resources privately, and then you have these different kind of mediating institutions that help to negotiate and combine different kind of resources. So you talk about the traditional companies. You talk about banks, for instance, that are playing a mediating role in the markets. So different kinds of markets are there for transactions. And what is happening right now is that we are moving towards collective pooling of resources and the integration of stakeholders and connecting technologies. So it's all about bringing different kind of stakeholders together to create shared value, and this takes place on different kinds of platforms. So overall, we are talking about the economy of sharing. So we are moving from transactions to sharing, and the separation of stakeholders to integration of stakeholders, and from private ownership of resources to collective pooling of resources. And the logic of these different kind of like models of society and economy are quite different. So how do we actually create value? How do we create or generate welfare? The model through which this takes place is quite different. So is it about separation and competition, or is it about combining and cooperation? So in the latter world, the economy of sharing, it's all about cooperation. And considering this, there's a great opportunity for the cooperative model. It's not necessarily so that these different logics and forms of economy and society would not coexist. It's potentially so. We right now and always we've had certain variety, and it looks like we're going to have variety also in the future, but it could be that the dominant logic is changing, and the dominant logic, as it's changing, it's creating opportunities for the use of the cooperative model. And in certain ways you could say that the cooperative is a model for the digital era. We've had cooperatives for more than 150 years, and soon it will be 200 years. Certain forms of cooperatives, and the cooperative practices, or the practices that are supposed to be followed by cooperatives, the core ideas of cooperation, have been developed and elaborated further over the decades in various fields. We have cooperatives operating in the financial sector. We have retail cooperatives. We have various forms of consumer cooperatives. We have cooperatives in the agricultural sector, and so on. From these different kinds of fields and contexts, societal contexts, we have a experience of cooperation, how to make it successful, both in terms of running a successful enterprise and also creating a successful and sustainable community. Cooperatives are always about the enterprise and the community that's running the enterprise, and all those ideas that are at the heart of cooperation, that make up the cooperative model, are kind of like principles of organization for the digital era. So even though they have worked well in this industrial and service context, they they are even better designed for the digital era. One of the keys is that these days people kind of like travel or wander through different kind of virtual communities. They may be part of a community for a while and go further. This is something that takes place in many forums, and is something that is becoming more evident and visible to people as virtuality develops and digitalization, the level of digitalization of society proceeds further. One of the things that is beneficial of the cooperative model in this context is that it is very easy to join and leave the cooperative. So different kind of stakeholders can come and go and be part of this community that democratically controls the platform, for example. So it's a dynamic model of association for people, and in this sense, it fits very well for the purposes of these times. The second thing is that the cooperative model also speaks to the individual in a way that is supposed to and is seen to motivate them. It provides participation-based rewards. So you don't get rewards based on necessarily based on the investment of money, but investment of your time and concern and intellectual capacities, and and based on your participation, you are rewarded. It can be monetary, it can be social, it is psychological rewards that people get from participation to the cooperative, different kind of cooperative endeavors. Another thing that's at the heart of the cooperative model is responsibility. There are many forms of responsibility, but together all these different forms they promote system viability. So all kind of organizations that operate in the markets or also in the future in the sharing economy, they all need various kind of resources. They need economic resources, but they need other kinds of resources. There needs to be a certain kind of understanding of the importance of those resources and nurturing of those resources, and this is something that the cooperative model encourages. Sometimes, obviously, you see failures of cooperatives based on neglecting this idea, but when the core ideas of cooperation are put to practice and they materialize in the operations of a cooperative, you see responsibility that promotes system viability. It is not only economic responsibility, so that the cooperative actually develops as a strong economic organization, and it creates the kind of value to its stakeholders, members and other stakeholders that it's supposed to create. It's also about the integration of different kind of stakeholders. The cooperative model calls for just and fair treatment of different kind of stakeholders, and this is something that develops trust and social capital and thereby promotes system viability. You also have political responsibility, which is actually very important considering platform economy. Right now, for example, in the United States, people are referring to Facebook and considering or having a critical view of the political responsibility of Facebook. So these different kind of platforms, the larger they get, the more influence they have in people's lives and the shaping of people's wills and their behavior as citizens. And this is something that the cooperative model also considers, or it is considered in the core ideas of cooperation as something as vital to mind. What is the role of the cooperatives in the political arena? And basically certain kind of idea exists that these cooperative platforms should be in neutral to different political parties. And also ethical concerns, they have been at the heart of the cooperative model, and this comes to, for example, the question of how do you gather and utilize data that is collected of individuals operating on the platform and using the platform and thereby revealing their identity and sometimes their most intimate matters to those who can collect the data and utilize the data. Also, the cooperative model is fit for this time, since it also legitimizes resource pooling. So as this new era, the economy of sharing is about pooling of resources. You need to have a governance model for the resources, such that actually provides people an equal say in the formation of will and the basic direction through which those resources are allocated. And as cooperatives are a democratic form of organization and governance, there's a great fit for this time. And considering that the data is at the heart of value creation these days in the digital era and in the platform economy, especially the collection, storage, and use of data, different kinds of data masses that are being gathered and analyzed, utilized for value creation. Those are in the cooperative world governed through democratic processes. So they do not belong to certain individual stakeholder or say a government, for example, but to those through whose interactions the data is created. Those same individuals also democratically and straight govern those data masses. The fifth point I wanted to raise here about the fit of the cooperative model for the digital era is that cooperation has been to a great extent about creating impact that promotes the welfare, economic and social, psychological, actually various kind of value dimensions considered, value or benefit of the members, and the impact it is created through the quest for excellence. In the cooperative model, there's an expectation that the cooperative is best in the market economy. It's the best in the market. In the sharing economy, you can still compare a particular platform with other platforms, and a cooperative platform is supposed to be creating impact through the quest of for excellence. You can consider the operating environment in which the cooperative operates, the best understanding of the change of that environment, different kind of trends of change, factors of change. They are understood, and the cooperative is designed to evolve and manage to evolve in a manner that maintains a fit between the cooperative and the environment, so that the cooperative is impactful for the benefit of the members and other stakeholders in that environment. So this is about strategy. Obviously, the line between the external environment and the internal environment of the cooperative is something that is more a fictional thing in this world where you pool resources and you have the integration of different kind of stakeholders, and you have these connecting technologies. In this context, you know, what is the inside of a cooperative and what's the outside of the cooperative is quite problematic and not necessarily so important to map even, but basically the cooperative is about management of the fit between the combined resources and the use of those resources and the development of the operating environment, and doing so most excellently. So through these different kind of characters of the cooperative model, it is fair to say that the cooperative model is very well fit to the sharing economy and the digital era economy and the organization of societies in the digital era. This is my thinking now, and I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have. So please contact me. There's my email address given, and I hope to continue with the conversation over the email with you. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye bye.